Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. My husband went out of town, so I was like, let's do a Facebook Live at 7 o'clock in the evening. And um, I'm gonna sign on my computer here too so that I can see comments because they don't always work on the phone. And I thought we'd chat a little bit and then I'll turn the phone around or the camera around and so you can kind of see what I'm painting. All right, there we are. We're live. All right, what have I been up to? What have you been up to? If you're joining, just say, hello, hey Jana, and just give me a hello. So anyway, we've been traveling too much. And it's not over, so I'm really glad to be back in the studio for a few days. And I wanted to start a spread in the sketchbook. I'm going to use this one, the Moleskin watercolor sketchbook. And it's almost full. We'll look through it when I set it down, but I've got a brand new spread ready to go. I've gessoed it. Hey Linda. Hey everybody. And so I've already put gesso on this, and then I'm gonna flip you around here shortly and we'll start painting. So I've got the live video on the group page as well, so that I should be able to see comments. I'll do my best to, say hello and talk. Okay, wait, that's somebody else's video. Wow, Sandy Dawkins, she did a great picture of her sketchbook. Okay, I'm gonna flip you around and let's start painting. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, you know what I did setting this up? So you see my paints over there? And this charging cord to make sure my phone doesn't die while we're live. Well, guess what I did? Let's see if I can show it to you. Let's see, there's yellow paint all over the charging cord, and it was all over my hands, and I had to laugh. Okay, there we go. Now, what I thought we would do is I have been experimenting with, limited palettes. It's always a fun exercise. I think I put that as a group challenge at one point. And so what I thought I'd do is just use, for this, 3 colors and white. And let's see, we might, want to add something, but I'll show you this painting. So the 3 colors with the Nova Color, these are acrylics that you probably have heard me talk about, but they're available in mail order, and I collaborated with them on a Suzanne Allard bundle. So these are some of the colors in the bundle. Quinacridone red, which is just a beautiful purpley red. And then cerulean blue. And I chose this for the blue in my limited palette because it's a warm blue as opposed to ultramarine blue, which is a cool blue. You can almost see the difference there of the warm and the cool. So you could try this with the cool another time, and then just a cadmium yellow medium. So these 3 and white, and we'll save these other colors in case we want to add them. But look at this piece of artwork that I did recently. I'm just playing, like I haven't, I don't know, I've got a couple layers into this and I don't know where it's going to go next, but this is done with those 3 colors in white, nothing else. And there are endless possibilities. So, now if you have questions, I will do my best to look at them while I'm painting. I'm just gonna make sure that we're live on the group as well so that I can see your comments. I don't see them yet. Sometimes it takes a while. All right, so let's just get started. I'm going to start, I have no plan. Well, I have kind of a plan, and I'm gonna maybe do something similar to this. So that's it. But so you get an idea what's in this sketchbook. I think You guys have probably seen it if you've taken the sketchbook class, but there's a variety of abstracts, really colorful, and some of these, many of them I've gone back, like I talk about, you know, the living sketchbook, I've gone back and changed things, and I think recently I went back and put peach in here and to see how I like it. And same thing with this, I think I toned this down and put a lot more neutrals in it, just playing with it. This one, this was fun. I think I posted on, oh no, I think I did this, maybe I did it on YouTube, but this side looked completely different and it didn't go with this at all. And so I redid this one, working with some of the themes that were there to kind of tie it in with this side. Those two don't go together, but I can't part with that because I painted that on the beach in the sand at St. Bart's, so I can't get rid of it. And so mostly they're, you know, a variety of really textured, lots of oil pastel and ink and all kinds of yummy stuff. Well, a few chubby florals. If you've taken that class, you'll recognize these guys. And just like I said, a variety here. So I don't really, sometimes in my sketchbooks I'll have a theme, like I want to do my floral sketchbook or my kind of more modern abstract sketchbook. I don't feel that way in this sketchbook. This one is anything goes, any experiment that I want to do. So like here's some really fun wild abstracts. This was a tea bag. I took a tea bag and dragged it around and then kind of worked with those shapes. And then a few more chubby florals. This abstract I created, I think, from start to finish on YouTube. And this was a fun exercise. So yeah, there's not a big strategy here with the sketchbook. So let's just start by making some marks and see where we end up. I think I'll start, you know, I start with a larger brush and I'm just gonna grab some of these colors. Oh, I wanna show you my latest tip I am so excited about. Okay, you're getting this before the YouTube video. So one of the problems, one of the downsides of acrylic paint is that it dries so fast. Like I got these out and I'm sitting here talking and they're already kind of getting that coating on. So, but I don't like using too much of that slow dry, you know, the retardant that keeps it from drying fast. Let me get the bottle, I'll show it to you. This slow dry medium, I just don't want to use too much because it kind of reduces the opacity of the paint, and you know, whenever I take some out and mix too much with the paint, it just, it makes it kind of glossy. It's just not what I want. There are some matte mediums that are slow dry too, but again, they reduce the opacity. So what I've done is I've taken a little spray bottle and I put probably not even half of this to water, maybe a third of it. You could experiment. And I've been using it just like I just did while I'm talking, or even, you know, just working to keep the paint, it just keeps it moist with the water, but I don't want a lot of water. And then it keeps it from drying because there's a little bit of that slow dry in there. So I'm just going to play and get some color down. I wish I could, oh, okay, good. I can see some comments there. Great, they're coming in. Hi, Rose from North Carolina. Oh, you bought the bundle. Good. I'm glad you like it. The colors, I mean, like this quinacridone red makes me crazy how pretty it is. And then when I add yellow to it, well, you'll see. Sheila, hi. Hello, Michelle from Toronto. So we have, and Diana, where are you? So we have North Carolina, Toronto. Where are the rest of you? Again, I have no plan. I'm going to switch to the blue, get some darks in there. Maybe add a little yellow to it to vary it. My only goal right now is to cover the pages. And, you know, one of the things you learn, so, you know, you need to have, in anything you paint, contrast, right? You need to have your lights and your darks. And so you might say, well, how are you going to have much of a dark if, you know, your dark is this, that I have on this palette is this, let me put these down so you can see them, is the cerulean blue. So how could you possibly have enough to make a good dark? But you do when you mix. Now you'll notice I have not rinsed my brush yet. That's the other thing. I will wipe it, but when you rinse it, you get a bunch of water in it. And, oh, hey, Suzanne, Oklahoma City. Okay, here you guys are all coming in now. Natalie in Ottawa, Jana in California, Rochelle in Minnesota. All right, look at all of us. Such fun. Anyway, I try to avoid rinsing my brush a lot. Now, you have to be careful because you can get muddy colors, but usually if you wipe it like I just did with a paper towel, you'll get most of the paint out. And I don't mind that there's a little bit in there because of the color. You know, if I've got, you can see I've still got color. Look at this. This is a well-loved brush. I scrub like this with it. You see me scrubbing. So the poor bristles, it's supposed to be a square. It's turning into a different shape. Ellen from, oh my gosh, Detroit. Aw, Susan, that's so sweet. I wish I could hear you all. That's what I don't like. We're gonna have to figure out, like, do some Zooms or something, because I want to paint, you know, together. Ellen and Marianne. Okay, I've almost got this covered, and I kind of like it the way it is. All right, I'm going to clean out my brush again. And I will rinse it. I'm not saying I won't. I just, I don't know, if you do rinse it, like, I'll rinse it and show you. You just want to get a lot of the water out, because otherwise you just end up, for this kind of thing anyway, you end up watering down the paint. And then another tip is, you know, I used to do this, I'd do this, but then I didn't dry this section, and I'd go to paint and water would just drip down onto my painting. And anyway, these are just things you'll learn as you practice. All right, well, I didn't know that those colors were going to happen, but let's see what we can do. I want to show you the yellow or the peach you can make with this quinacridone red. Can you see? I want to make sure you can see my color mixing over here. Not really. Let me move this over. Okay. There's not enough room on this. This way you can see a little bit more of my color mixing. All right, that's better. I'm just looking, make sure I'm not missing your comments. Okay. So yeah, I just made an orange, so I'm going to go with that. And that was just, again, these are just these three colors. If you're just joining, this is a limited palette. I'm probably going to turn this into like a mini class. Limited palette. Oh, look at that color. Can you see that? I'm excited about my newsletter going out tomorrow that I worked on today, my email newsletter, because it's about the Fauvists, which is definitely my favorite type of art from the early 1900s and how they used color to convey emotion, which is what I did before I found them, like before I knew that there was a whole art movement that did that long ago. Anyway, if you don't get my email newsletter, just go to my website and sign up, because I think I've set it to send out around noon. And I just wrote a little bit about that and put examples of 3 different artists that are fauvists, but their use of color is amazing. I'm making my flat brush into a custom filbert. I am. Here's what Susan's talking about. Here's a filbert and my flat brush. I need to go from side to side. It's becoming a lopsided filbert. But the filbert is shaped like this, which, yes, you're right, Susan. It's becoming a filbert. Lunchtime in New Zealand. Oh, hi, Leslie. Well, good. That's good timing. Maybe this is a good time. I always try to find a time zone that works. The problem is the UK and Australia, those are the tough ones. I cannot find a time zone that works in both of those, because it ends up basically one of you sleeping when the other isn't. That's what it boils down to. But you can always replay. So I'm kind of messing around and giving this time to dry, making colors. So you can see it's endless. It's endless, the colors you can make. Let's see what color this is. That's a neutral. You invent colors this way that you will never see again. So if you make one that you just fall in love with, you can kind of remember or take notes. I'm just not a note taker. That's pretty. That has a little bit of all 3 colors. And then a little bit more blue. Oh, that's pretty too. We could just keep going. And the other great thing about using a limited palette is you will naturally improve your composition and your unity, because all these colors are coming from each other. So we're not gonna it helps the harmony of your painting without you even knowing it. All right, let's make a color. Let's see, maybe let me take this brush and make a turquoise, which is the cerulean, mostly cerulean blue. Hey, Madeline from Pennsylvania. Yes, they are, Susan. These are Nova Colors. Oh my gosh, Kalamazoo? Are you kidding me? I was just in Kalamazoo. I kid you not. My aunt lives there, and she had a hip replacement surgery. So I was in Traverse City, so I just drove down the 3 hours to, not only that, my husband and I met in Kalamazoo. Yeah, it's crazy. Kalamazoo is a, I don't know, medium-sized town, I guess, in Michigan, for those of you who don't know. All right, I want to get this a little more turquoisey. You can get a pretty nice turquoise with these 3 colors. All right, let me do maybe a little brighter. A little more green. Yeah, that's what I want. I want to make a little pot here. It's funny, me and my pots, right? I don't know. I think it's I grew up in South America, and my mother was a huge gardener, and so no matter where we were or how long we were in a country, because we moved, every 2 or 3 years, she would always have plants. She loved plants. You love watching me mix. Do you guys have your glass of wine? I have a glass of wine, or your cup of tea. Hey, Sandy in North Carolina. Oh, there's a couple of you in North Carolina. Anyway, she would always have plants around. And I think it's just from, I don't know. So sometimes even, well, still now she does, but she would have pots and more pots and things. So I think they just started appearing because of that memory, maybe. All right, I am going to wash that blue out because if I try to use that with yellow, it's going to go in the opposite direction. I'm going to make an orange pot. See, there's still some green left in my brush, which is okay because it's toning this down. And let's do another one. All right, I feel like I was talking about something and I lost track of it. I already have that color. Let's cover it up. It's too. And let's do. My poor Filberts. We're in South America. I lived in, hello Catherine from Oregon, and Lynn, oh, another New Zealander. It's lunchtime. We know that now. Hey, South America. I lived in Chile, Ecuador, Guatemala, and I'm missing one, Colombia. And I know that that's where my love of color came from. Just the fabrics there, the plants, the textiles, the patterns, all of that stuff. Let's see, I'm waiting for some of this to dry. Let's make a green. So we're going to get some of the yellow and some of the blue. Now, you may know this, but to tone down a green, so let me show you. Make sure you can see this. Can you see? Yeah. Greens are really, really fun to make. That's why I don't generally buy them. So see how this green is just too, let me show you. It's just too green. I don't know how to describe it. So I'm going to knock it back or tone it down with a little bit of orange, and it immediately gets some interest and looks a little bit warmer. You see, that's just a much more interesting green. So use orange to tone down green to make it richer, a little bit more olivey. And even though this is a fat brush, I'm going to stick with it. On my latest YouTube video that I did on brushes, I talked about how to help you be loose, you want to use as large a brush as possible. So even though this is a little sketchbook, I'm using, it's a 4, it's not huge, but it's bigger than it feels comfortable, and that really will help you loosen up. And also holding your brush like this will help you. Now, that's a little harder to practice on a little sketchbook, but you can. Let's see. Let's make this one a little bit crazier. Thanks for interrupting your dinner, lunch, or whatever you would be doing now and joining me. All right, now I'm going to do, really, for me, this is a process of making colors and having fun, seeing what colors I can make, and then I just kind of think of a shape and try not to think about it too much. I like arches. I think that comes from South America too. And I like pots, circles, just blobs of color. And if you ever do something like this and then you're like, well, what is that? Don't worry about it. Just put it away and come back to it another time, and something might, just with some distance, you might get something. Let's see. I think it might be fun to get some kind of branch thing. I've got to wash the green out of there. Coming out of here. All right. Let me know where you're, if you're joining, let us know where you are. Just put in the comments. We've got, what do we have? 2 or 3 countries so far, and many, many states. Let's see, what should we do now? I think it's kind of funny to put one big leaf coming out of a pot. One of the things that you'll see if you get that newsletter on the Fauvists is Houston, Texas. Hey, Jacqueline. Hey, Australia. Okay, we have is it lunchtime there too? We have that hemisphere. This is a good time for you all. I was talking about my new newsletter. I'm trying to get better at sending out the newsletter, guys. It's just not time for everything. But my newsletter tomorrow that's scheduled to go out at noon my time is on the Fauvists. It's just an article with some examples of their painting, and they were artists based in Paris in 1905. Hey, Joy from Kansas, and Lori from New Jersey, Michelle in Ontario. Oh, okay, 10:30. All right, good. Anyway, the Fauvists are so inspiring. You have to, well, if don't get my newsletter, go on my website and sign up for it. Or just go and research Fauvists yourself. Fauv. Fauvism, Fauvists. Fauvi, you get it. Hey, Deanna from Arizona. Anyway, you will see, it's just so inspiring. You'll see they used color to express emotion, okay? They didn't say, oh no, grass has to be green and plants have to be this, or the sky has to be blue. No, you will see everything in those, too much green, in those paintings. So, Saugatuck, Michigan. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Deanna from Arizona. Let's see, I want some more white. Something light. Everything's getting a little bit too, well, this one has some good lights in it, this side. This one, not so much. So we're going to bring a little bit of light because we always want to have contrast. Whenever you're not excited about what you've created, look at contrast, also called value, and make sure you have enough lights and darks. And then look at your complementary colors. So, which means look at, for energy and excitement, could you put colors next to each other that are next to each other on the color wheel? or I mean across from each other. Those are called complementary. So could you put some yellow next to some purple? Could you put some red next to some green? That will also spruce up your paintings. I've got too much water. See, this is why I don't like rinsing my brush, even though I've dried it and dried it. I'm trying to negative space paint here. And you can see I've done all this with the same brush so far. And it's large, larger than would seem comfortable, to force myself to stay loose and not get too fussy, right? Isn't it hard to not get too fussy? Oh, hey Deanna, first time catching me. I know, well today I did something, I think it worked. I put out a little, sometimes I can't plan too far in advance. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go live, so I don't put out a notice, but today I did, so I'm sure that helped. Let's see. I do like I really like that pink and green here. And I definitely need some of this to dry so that it doesn't keep blending. So let's let it dry a little bit and we'll chat. Oh, I know, I can tell you about an exciting thing I'm working on is my own line of brushes. So they're gonna be the shape I want, the size I want, and the handle's gonna be the pretty turquoise in my logo. And then I've asked, I don't know if they can do it, but you know how much we use gold metallic, and I love gold metallic. Well, I've asked if they can make this, I think it's called the ferrule, gold metallic or brushed gold. I know that's not important, but you know, hey, if you're gonna have brushes made, you might as well make them the way you want them. They might as well be pretty when they get all covered with paint, which mine do. So, oh, I dabbled water on that. All right, well, while that's drying, maybe we should look through another sketchbook. Or we can go back through this one. This is my, for those of you who didn't join at the beginning, this is the watercolor moleskin. And I did gesso these pages first. So let's just do this because this is kind of wet. And we'll let that dry a little bit while we look through just some of the different things I've played with in this book. It's a catch-all. This one I did create on YouTube from start to finish, I believe, although it might be time-lapsed. And some of the little bouquets. I'm going to work on a class of just florals. I don't know when I'll get to it. Honestly, well, it might be November. I might have time in November. I was experimenting here with the Neocolor crayons and just, you know, making marks and then taking a paintbrush through them, and then I took some metallic gold pen and some other, this is like a, oh, what are they called? These guys, Micron. These are really nice pens for that thin black line, artist quality, which you can find at Michael's. And just a variety of spreads in here that I've played with and gone back and forth and added stuff. Love the texture in this. This thing is so thick with acrylic and oil pastels, and they get kind of grimy sometimes from touching each other, but I don't mind that. So this one might be my favorite spread, or even this one. All right, how are you guys doing? Let's see. Still kind of tacky. Well, that might be all we can do tonight, because what I would do next is, you know, take some same colors and play with them, or maybe just add some little details, some dots and things with my Posca, you know. Can do that now while we chat. Who else is joining us? Where are you joining from? Say hello and tell me where you're joining. I'm back in Florida for a few days. We were very lucky not to get hit by that hurricane. Does anyone know how the lady up in our group in Canada did? There was a hurricane headed that way. I'm hoping that she's okay and that her house and all that. Yeah, it's just tacky. I can't really add much more. Well, thanks so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun, and I like how these three. So if you didn't start at the beginning with us, I just wanted to show you this I was playing with the other day, and it's just these three colors. I mean, it's incredible. And I could do another one. There are colors I didn't get to here. You know, I didn't make a real warm peach. I'm going to go through and do some more layers on that. But I did the same thing with this one. Just the three colors, the cerulean blue, quinacridone red, and cadmium yellow and white. And it's just kind of endless what you can create. So that's a good thing to remember when you travel. You know, you don't need every color under the sun, and it'll force you to get creative. Okay, thanks so much for joining me. I'm gonna take these down so I can, oh, you got to see my hand. All right, guys, it was so fun. Thank you so much, and we'll do this again. Keep creating.